Hello everyone, welcome to the video lecture series on microprocessor and peripheral interface. In this video lecture, we are going to study the concept of stacks and subroutines. So, what is stack? It is a reserved area of memory. It is a reserved area of memory, and in this reserved area of memory the temporary information may be stored, and here temporary information is stored in this reserved area of memory, which is called as stack memory. A n-bit stack pointer is used to hold the address of the most recent stack entry. So whenever we are going to put the temporary information on the memory, the address of most recent entry is represented by the stack pointer, and this most recent entry is called as most recent entry in a stack memory is called as top of stack. It is generally called as top of stack. So whenever we have to enter the information, or we have to put the information on the stack, means when we have to write on stack, then we are going to use the operation called as push operation. We have studied this push instruction during the instruction set. So this push instruction is used to store the information on the stack, and when the information is read from the stack, at that time read from stack, at that time the operation which we are going to perform, that operation is called as pop. The stack works on the principle of last in first out, or first in last out. That means the entry which is entered on the stack last, that entry is taken out first, or you can say that the entry which is first in the stack memory, that will be taken out late or later, or we can say that last. So this stack is based on this last in first out or first in last out principle. So how is this stack memory? Let's consider we have to stack the plates. So how we are stacking the plates? Suppose this is first plate. On this first plate we have put our second plate, first, second. On this we have put our third plate. On this again we have put our fourth plate. So how we stack the plate? This is stack of plates. So, or we can say that stacked plates. So how we are stacking the plates? In the same manner, the information is stored on the stack memory by the processor. If we want to remove the first plate, suppose we have to remove this first plate, then what we have to do? First of all, we have to remove the above plate, that means fourth plate, then we have to remove third plate, then we have to remove second plate, and then only it is possible to take this first plate out. That means the first entry is our first plate, and that first plate is taken in the last. That's why it is first in last out. Or suppose you want to take this fourth plate out, then directly we can pick this fourth plate, and this fourth plate is last entry and it is taken first. So it is last in first out. So for implementation of this stack, the special pointer register is used. Which is that pointer register? Yes, it is stack pointer register. So this stack pointer register is used for implementation of stack. The stack pointer's contents are automatically adjusted to point the stack. Means suppose what we have to do, we have to put one more plate on this stacked plate. Then suppose at this location our stack pointer is there. So this location is now our top of stack. Okay, and then if we want to put one more plate, then we have to increment this SP by 1. So SP plus 1, and here we can put our new plate. Here we can put our new plate. That means when we have to write on stack, we have to use push instruction, and in this case the stack pointer is incremented by 1. And now if we want to take out this fourth plate, or we have to read this fourth location, in this case what happens, the stack pointer is now here. In previous case this was the top of stack, we have incremented the pointer by 1. Now this location, now this will be our new top of stack. Suppose we have to read the stack, in that case the stack pointer is decremented by 1. That means now this SP plus 1 is there. So this SP plus 1 will be decremented by 1 to indicate the next available location in the stack, and for that we are going to use this pop instruction. So here now you can understand how important is this stack pointer, that is SP. Suppose we have to write on stack, this SP is incremented. Okay, SP increments, and for read operation SP, this is for write operation, and for read operation SP decrements. Hence stack pointer cannot be pushed to memory location pointed by itself, means it cannot be used as data or address. Stack pointer is only representing the location of top of stack. It cannot be, or the contents of stack pointer cannot be used as data or the address. So it is all about the stack memory in the 8086. This stack memory, it is the reserved area of memory in which the temporary information is stored. Now we will see our next point, procedures or subroutines. So what happens whenever a group of instructions are used in a program several times. In that case what happens, the length of program will be more, and we can avoid this by using the procedures or subroutines. That means that group of instructions which are repeated in a program, that we can write in a separate way, that are called as procedures or subroutines. And one way is to write this group of instruction as a separate procedure, and we can then call, now this is written in a separate procedure, and we can call this procedure whenever we require this group of instruction. And for calling of this procedure, the return address has to be stored back on the stack. That means here also we require the stack. And there is another way. That way is to write the group of instructions as a macro. Means we can either write this group of instructions which are repeatedly used in a procedure, or these can be used in a macro. Now the basic requirements which must be satisfied while calling this procedure is, there are three basic requirements. First requirement, that a procedure call must save the address of the next instruction so that the return will be able to branch back to the proper place in the calling program. Means return address must be stored. Second point, that the registers which are used by the procedure need to be stored before their contents are changed. Means whatever registers which we are going to use in a procedure, the contents of register must be stored. And again the contents of same register must be restored before procedure exits. Procedure before exit from the procedure, again that content should be restored. And third point is that a procedure must have a means of communicating or sharing data with the routine that calls it and the procedure. So sharing of data is important concept in case of the procedure. Now here this first requirement is met by the call and return branch instructions. So call and return branch instructions are used to meet this first requirement. This second requirement, it is met by saving the register and flags by push instruction and retrieving the same content by the pop instruction. Means this can be made with the help of push and pop instructions. Now these procedures are delimited within the source code by the statement form. Now what is that? So here we can write down the procedure name. Procedure name, then proc attribute, so this is at the beginning of procedure. How we can write down the procedure? So at the beginning we have to write down the procedure name, proc and attribute. Then whatever the in between instructions are there, again at the end we have to write down procedure name. Then end of procedure is indicated by end P semicolon. It is at end of procedure. So by this way we can write down our procedure. So here this procedure name, it is the identifier used for calling the procedure. Means how we can call the procedure? For that we require the identifier. So it is identifier for calling of the procedure, and the attributes for this procedure name are near and far. These are the attributes. So if the procedure is within the same code or within the same code segment, means procedure is within same code segment. In that case, the and if the main program is also stored in the same code segment, then the procedure is called as a near procedure, and the attribute is nothing but here near. And if the procedure is in the same in the other segment, then we can use the far procedure, and the far is here the attribute. For a near procedure, call instruction will push, means for this near procedure the call instruction will push only the contents of IP on the stack, while for the far instruction the contents of IP as well as the contents of CS register are stacked on the stack segment. So why we are going to write the procedures? So procedures are written to process the data or address variables from the main program, and to achieve this it is necessary to pass the information about the address, variables or data, and passing of this information is generally called as parameter passing. And this parameter passing is very important while writing the procedures. And how we are passing the parameters? There are 4 ways in which we pass the parameters. So what are that 4 ways? We'll see what are that 4 ways. So these are the ways in which we can pass the parameters. Passing the parameters by using the registers, passing parameters using the memory, passing parameters using the pointers, and passing parameters using the stack. So in first method of parameter passing, where parameters are passed using the register. So here the data to be passed, that data is first of all stored in the register. So data is stored in register, and these registers are accessed in the procedure to process the data. So such type of parameter passing is called as parameter passing using register. But this method is having the disadvantage. What is that disadvantage? That using the registers to pass the parameters, here the number of registers limit the number of parameters which we can pass. That means suppose the number of parameters or data which we have to pass is less, then we can use the first method. But if we have to pass the large number of data, suppose we have to pass the array of 100 elements or suppose 200 elements, in that case this method will not be useful. Then the second method is passing parameters using the memory. So in this passing parameter using the memory, what happens? A large parameters will be passed. Large parameters will be passed. And in this case this memory may be a dedicated section of general memory, or it is a part of it. So this is the second method called as parameter passing using memory. Third one is passing parameters using pointers. So in this method the pointer registers are used to pass the desired data in a procedure, while in memory the variable names are used, and to avoid that variable names the pointer registers, as the name indicates, pointers. So pointer registers are used to pass the data. And the fourth method of parameter passing is nothing but the passing parameters using the stack. So here in this passing parameter using the stack, first of all we have to push the data on the stack. So the data to be passed or parameters that should be stacked on stack before the call for the procedure happens from the main program. And here in the procedure the instructions are to be written to read that parameters from the stacked location. And whenever the stack is used, whenever we use the stack in programs, in this case what happens, it should be important to keep the track of data which is stacked. Data which is stacked, the track of that should be important in case of parameter passing using the stack. So these are the four methods in which we can pass the parameters. And this is about the procedures and subroutines. So here in this video lecture we have seen the concept about the stacks and subroutines. Thank you for watching the video.